don't want to miss today's segment. As we begin today, I'm going to share two sacred texts, one from the Tao Te Ching and the other from the Hebrew Scriptures. And I'm going to give just a brief commentary, and then we're going to hear from our team. So our underlying theme is choices. When we think about the word choices, all our life is built around choices. From the time we arrive on this earth, we are bombarded with choices. Our parental guidance helps us to be equipped with the tools to make choices, but sometimes that's to a lesser or greater degree. The challenge is that when we are confronted with fearful situations, our ability to make clear, concise, life-affirming choices is impeded, meaning that our brain and its full capacity becomes focused on either fear, on either flight, fight, or freeze. And depending upon how well we have learned tools for making choices, when we're confronted with fear or trauma, our ability to make those choices. Knowing that all of life is choices then sets the classroom stage for us to spend our life maximizing our ability to choose. Our opening or our thought for today, and I want to begin these sacred readings with this thought, and it's from an ancient philosopher about 500 BC named Pythagoras. He was an influence on Plato and Socrates, but he said this: choices are the hinges of destiny, meaning our destiny swings on the choices we make. Would you share with me now as I read from the Tao Te Ching, verse 44, titled Choices? Which do you value more, your wealth or your wellness? Which is more harmful, to win or to lose? The greater is your attachment, the more bereft is your release. The more you hoard, the less is left to enjoy. Those on the path to the great integrity flow without forcing, leaving no space for disasters. Just a brief commentary on that text. Reading from the Tao. Most people, given the opportunity, would choose wealth over wellness. How about you? Having been confronted with life-threatening illness, I think I would choose wellness over wealth. You can always earn and make money, but you cannot always get your health back. But what would you choose? Winning over losing. So much of our Western world, our capitalistic marketplace-driven culture is tied up into winning. Our sports, culture, even our entertainment industry is about awards and who won. What would you choose, winning over losing? Well, no one is going to say I'll choose losing, I don't think. But the question really is, do you understand or the perception of winning versus losing? Often what appears to be a loss is a win. And what appears to be a win is a loss. Just a couple of more lines. They cling desperately and dependently in their close relationships and hoard their possessions. The tighter we hold on, to what we think we may lose, the less we have it and the less we're blessed by it. There are people who die and they appear to be in poverty, living in filth and just utter despair, to find out that they actually were wealthy financially. Because they are so afraid of losing what they have, they cannot enjoy what they have. Choices. Our alternative is to flow without forcing and to release ourselves from our false values and counterproductive behaviors. To flow, not force, to flow. And let go, choose to let go of the false values that keep us locked into a behavior that's really counterproductive to what we want to achieve. I'm going to share now our next sacred text, which is from the Hebrew scripture, Deuteronomy 30:19. And this translation is the Good News text. And it references choose life. I am now giving you the choice between life and death, between God's blessing and curse and God's curse. And I call heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Choose life. I would suggest and ask you to consider that most of us, barring any other neurological or mental health challenges, would say that we want to choose life. Because there's something innate about us, that there's a survival instinct that we want to live. However, too often, when we want to choose life, our perception of life and death are confused. Our values support a death culture while we speak we want to live. Becoming aware of what actual life choices are is the challenge and the test we're all confronted with. How do I know if I'm choosing life or death when life often looks like something else and death can be dressed up and look so beautiful? How do I choose? In a culture where we're bombarded with choices, how do we choose? That's your question, your meditation for this week. Thank you for sharing that with me. Are you ready?